Okay, so this is a quick tutorial for my Testbuilder app. Just a reminder, this app is very much in alpha right now. It is not guaranteed to fully work, and I've been getting the bugs out of it, but it's not really quite ready for public consumption. But here's what it does. Just want to give you a look at how it works and walk you through it, so maybe it might help you out in what you're doing. So the first thing is the URL. I'll put this in the description to the video. It's limitlesstour-23592.herokuapp.com. I'm using free hosting for this on Heroku. And so what that means is that if there's not an instance of it spun up when you try to access it, it will take a few minutes, well, a few seconds to spin the instance up. So you're going to see most likely when you access this site that it's going to load real slow and may take as much as like 10 or 15 seconds to load. Don't panic, just let it load, and then once the front page has loaded, everything else will load smoothly. Now I just loaded this up a couple seconds ago, so it'll be real quick for me, but just be aware that that will happen. So the first thing you do when you get into the site is you go to login, and you can sign in with Google or sign in with an email. I would suggest signing in with Google, and that takes you to a Google sign-in site, and I'm going to sign in to my Google account, briantittle@gmail.com. And then when you log in, it will authenticate you, and it'll give you your name and your image here. That's how you know you'll be logged in. Okay, so with this thing, you can take the contents of a Word document test and a lot of other different types of test questions and import them easily into the system, and then create a variety of different activities from them. So if I go to My Questions here, you'll notice there's a bunch of questions that are already in this system. This is just from my testing of the system. But what you'll see in the top right-hand corner is this green plus sign. If you click on the plus sign, it brings you to the question editor. Now, to import questions from a document, you go to Import from Doc right here, and you see some text fields that need to be filled in here. So I'm going to open a document up. I'm just going to go with, I don't know, a test file. Let's find one here real quick. I have a test on Islam. Oh, there we go, my AP European History exam. Let's do that one. Okay, so I've got a Word document that's going to open up here in just a second. We're just going to look at my semester exam from AP World History. Hopefully none of my students are looking at this right now. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to come down to the bottom to some questions I haven't brought in yet. And I'm going to just grab these questions just like this, and copy them, and then paste them into this place where it says plain text. Notice all of the formatting for your questions will disappear. That's okay. Basically, any questions that are where the questions are separated by lines from the answers will be parsed by this text box. So after you've put in your questions into the text box, you have to put in your question delimiter. The delimiter is the number and punctuation mark that you use to show the beginning of a new question. So in this case, my delimiter is a number, and you can put in any number you want, and a period. And so basically what's going to happen here is when the system sees a number and a period, it's going to separate out the questions. Now my answer delimiter is a lowercase letter and a period. Okay? So whenever it sees a lowercase letter and a period, it's going to separate out those questions. Then I'm going to put in some tags. This will help me search for the questions later. So I'm going to call this Euro History. Okay? And then you can select default question types for single line and multi-line questions. If a question is on a single line and there are no answers for it, it will automatically assume that it's a true-false question. You can also have it assume that it's an essay or a short answer. If a question is on multiple lines, you can have it assume that it's a multiple choice question, and you can also have it assume a multi-answer question. So then I press the Check Questions button, and what that does is it brings those questions into my question editor. So when I go back, you can see the 7 questions that I highlighted are now in my question editor, and the question is here in the bold font, and the answers are here delimited by letters. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is go through and put the correct answers in. So the Edict of Nantes is all of the above. Louis XIV was known as the Sun King. Louis XIV had a very hard time collecting taxes from the nobility. The results of Spanish succession were all of the above. Eastern European countries generally belong to the Slavic language group. The Holy Roman Empire was fractured and divided under an emperor with little control, and George I of England is descended from the Guelph family. Okay, and then I can put in additional questions. So if I wanted to put in my own questions, who is buried in Grant's tomb? I can add choices like Grant's horse, Grant's wife, and I can double click on that. Now, to add images to questions, let's go back to one of these that we could put an image in for. Let's do the one for George I of England. You would put in an image link URL. So what I need to do is go to something like images.google.com, and we're going to look for a picture. Disregard that, having issues with my cable company right now. We're going to look for a picture of George I. Now we have an image of George I. Let's just grab this one right here, and we're going to copy that image's address and put the image's web address, its URL, here. Now you'll notice that the image will come up here. This works for pretty much every image that has a .jpg or .png image URL. If it has trouble reading the image URL, then it will tell you no image available. At this time, you cannot upload images to go along with the questions using this app. The main reason for that is that I'm on free hosting right now, and if I start allowing users to upload images, then I'm going to start having to pay something for hosting. Okay, so we have our image there, and so we're going to go save the question, and now all of those questions that we added are now here on the main page. Now, you can see here that if I go to the George I question, the image does not show on the main page, but if I click the edit button right here, this little pencil, you do see the image in the image link URL. Okay? All right, so that's questions. Now, once I have my questions into my question bank, I can go over to activities here, and I can create some new activities. So, to create an activity, I'm going to create, for example, a Blackboard 6 Plus test bank. What this will allow me to do is to import questions into a learning management system like Moodle. So there's tons of activities you can have it do. Most of these activities have been fully fleshed out. So there's a matching and a variety of other things. So what you do for import into Moodle is you use either this gift item, and this will put it in gift format, which is a Moodle native format, or you use this Blackboard 6 Plus item. Because we want images, we're going to use the Blackboard 6 Plus item. So when I click on Blackboard 6 Plus, I'm going to select just all the questions that I have here because they're all unique questions. That'll work. And I know that at least one of them has an image. And I'm going to call this my European History Test 1. And then I'm going to save. Now under my activities, you'll see European History Test 1, and you'll see that it's a Blackboard 6+ activity. In order to view the activity, in this case, in order to get the test questions to upload into Moodle, you press this magnifying glass right here. This will take you to a Blackboard generator page, and it says that you've got 13 questions available for export. So it's the 5 questions I already had on and the 8 questions we just imported. So we're going to export those into a zip file, and that will automatically download on your computer. So it's here as example-3.zip. And so now what I'm going to do is go into Moodle, and I'm going to go into just our sample course here, our test course. And I'm going to create, actually, I'm just going to go into the question bank for the course. Now, in Moodle, you can import questions using the import button on the question bank. And when you import questions, you can choose what format they're coming over in. So if you've exported in Blackboard format, you choose Blackboard. If you've exported in GIFT format, you choose GIFT. I have a file that's in Blackboard format. So now I'm going to take that zip file and I'm going to add that here and press the import button. And when I press the import button, I have all of the questions here from that file, and press continue. And now those questions are here in my question bank. And these are available now to use in Moodle quizzes. Now, I do want to check to see whether George I of England worked with the picture. I'm actually not sure that it's going to work because I have not tested that functionality very well or very much. But here we go. Okay, it looks like the picture is not being shown. So for right now, until I figure out how to make pictures available in Moodle quizzes from this app, you'll have to put in pictures individually. I will mess around with that and see if I can make it so that pictures will export as well. So yeah, so that is it. That's how it works, and you can play around with some of the other things that you can export, that you can create. It'll create flashcards, matching games, a couple of other different kinds of games, and also paper tests. So yeah, so play around with that and see if it's useful for you. All right, I hope that helps, and that's all for right now.